I don't know the best way to show this bad boy. Good morning, everyone. I wanted to do the second in my series about the Weight Watchers tools that I find helpful and that help keep me on program and either losing or maintaining, depending upon what kind of maintenance or losing mode I'm in. So hopefully you find this next video helpful, and if you have any questions or comments, be sure to leave them down below. Thanks. First, I want to talk about hot tea. I love coffee. I can drink coffee all day long. The problem is I like coffee with cream. And so too many cups of coffee, and next thing you know, I've shot down all my points worth of cream, and that's the end of that. So I am a hot tea lover. I have here, you can see my cabinet, I have tons and tons of loose tea. I have some tea bags as well. I haven't found as many tea bags that I like flavors of, and in my quest for tea that I really like, what I've since done is at home, typically I drink loose tea, and when I'm on the road, I usually take tea bags with me. In fact, I always have tea bags in little pouches in my purse so that if I ever want a cup of hot tea, like at the hospital this week, for example, I can do that. So some of the tools I use for hot tea, one of my very favorite things comes from a company called Tea Forte. I will link them down below. It's not a sponsored video. I'm not paid to talk about them. But it is this thing called a Kati cup. It is just the cutest thing ever. I have 4 of them, I believe. This one is their cherry blossom. And all it is a ceramic cup where there are 3 parts to it. You put your tea, your loose tea, in this diffuser, and then you fill the cup with water and you let it steep. There's even a little lid so that it helps keep the heat in while it steeps. And then when you're ready to drink it, you take the lid off and you lift the strainer out and you let the tea sort of drip a little bit so that you can get the rest of the steep tea out of there. And then the lid serves as a little place for you to rest the strainer or the diffuser. The newer ones, instead of being this mesh, and I'm not really sure where mine is, but instead of being this mesh, it's more of a hard metallic piece, so it stands up better and it doesn't get bent. So they've improved on their design, but this is still amazing no matter what design it is. This is typically the one I use at home. It makes a perfect cup of tea. It's a little bit bigger than a regular cup of tea. I cannot remember how large this is. Probably the only complaint I would have about this would be it gets a little bit hot. I have a teapot. I have a tea, I don't know, a larger tea diffuser. So if I'm making tea for 2 people, me and my husband, which is kind of rare, then we do that. I store all of my my loose teas up here in the cabinet. Again, Tea Forte is one of my favorites. Sweet orange spice, coconut chai latte, those are 2 of my favorites. So the other thing that I do when I take tea to go and I want loose tea is I use this little guy. Now, believe me, I have been through a ton of to-go type containers for hot tea, loose tea in particular. Most of them have some kind of a strainer that is required to remove before you can drink the tea. Not very handy when you're on the road. I have one from Teavana that otherwise I really like, but at some point in time when the tea is done brewing, I have to take the little strainer out and I have nowhere to put that in the car. So I bought this little guy off Amazon. It's by Aladdin. It's double-walled insulated, and look at this little guy here. Has a strainer built into the lid. So the loose tea goes here, and you would clamp it shut, fill your cup with water, and then on the side, there's this little handle, and the diffuser, you can see, drops down into the water. When you're ready to drink your tea, instead of trying to remove the diffuser, you simply lift this handle and the diffuser comes up. Now, is it still kind of in there when you're drinking? I don't think you can see this very well. Yes, it is, but you're not getting loose tea leaves in your mouth. and it's not continuing to steepen the tea. So this to me is, out of all the to-go tea containers I have tried, this is it for loose tea, this Aladdin thing. And I will try to find that on Amazon and link it to you as well. And when it comes to tea and even coffee, I've been through a ton of sweeteners. Sugar, honey, maple syrup, Equal, Sweet and Low, Splenda. I still do like Splenda for some things. It's probably the one that, if it's going to be a chemical, and I hate to say it that way, that's the one where if I don't want to spend the points, but I don't want the, I don't have any stevia with me, which I'm going to talk about here in a minute, I will reach to Splenda. So if I'm somewhere and someone offers me a cup of coffee, I'm going to go with Splenda. That's my chemical of choice. But if I have a choice, I actually use stevia. Now, I want to be careful and talk about, this one is the Now Better Foods, but I found Now Better Stevia, 0-calorie sweetener. I've found some other ones very similar to this. The important thing for me when I buy stevia is it has to be the only ingredient. So where it says here, certified organic stevia extract powder leaf, that's all I want to see. There's another one on the market called Truvia you can get in the grocery store. I think it is, what does it have added to it? Maybe maltodextrin or something. The thing is that stevia, pure stevia, is expensive. So it's very hard to find pure stevia in the grocery store. Most of the manufacturers like Truvia and some of the other ones, they add something to it to stretch it further. The ingredient I have to watch out for is inulin or chicory root fiber. It's added to a lot of diet-y type foods to add fiber, bulk it up, stretch it out so that they can get less calories out of it. And for whatever reason, some of the stevia powders add it to it. I cannot eat or consume inulin or chicory root powder. It is very bad for my digestive system. So I buy straight up organic, it doesn't have to be organic, but I do buy the organic stevia that is straight up powder. I keep a small one of these in my purse. I never travel without it. I keep a huge one here, as you can tell. This goes in everything, coffee, tea. I put it in oatmeal, for example. I don't cook with it like bake, but I don't bake anyway, so I guess that doesn't matter. So that's, for my second video, that's my resource that I want to share with you, is kind of how I keep my hands busy. That's really what's important about this hot tea little stretch I'm talking about here. In the afternoon in particular, when I'm kind of slumping, I find that I get very fidgety. And if I'm fidgety, I will start fidgeting in the kitchen, and I will start fidgeting with food, and I will start eating. So what I found is that I can make myself a nice hot cup of tea, and I can drink that, give my hands something to do, and I don't have a problem with trying to eat. I'm just consuming 0 calories. So that is resource number 1 in this video. Resource number 2, I don't know the best way to show this bad boy, is a blender. Now this is a very specific resource, but if you like smoothies at all, get a good blender. I had a crappy blender, it wouldn't even make a good margarita, which is sad. And I decided to invest in a good blender. I did tons of research. That's who I am. Tons of information. I actually belong to Consumer Reports. I read reviews. I almost do too much research. I did not, as much as I wanted a Blendtec, or I can't remember the other brand that is amazingly fabulous, I just could not justify spending $400 on a blender. I couldn't. So what I came down to for my decision is this Oster Versa. It was $180, which is still quite expensive for a blender, but it has been worth every single penny. I can make a smoothie in this and not have it be chunky, and it only takes about 90 to 120 seconds. I love this thing. So if you like smoothies at all, I would encourage you to get a very good blender, the best that you can possibly afford. My smoothies consist of fruit and almond milk and either a little bit of ice if the fruit isn't frozen, or no ice if I have frozen fruit. One of the other things I do is, you can see bananas back here. When my bananas start to get way past the point where I can eat them, like they're way too ripe, I freeze them. I peel and all. I throw them into a bag and I throw them into the freezer. Because what you can do is you can take them out of the freezer, defrost them for 10 seconds in the microwave so you can squish it out of the skin, and it is a perfect smoothie additive. You can get a banana in there. It's a little bit chunky frozen, so you don't need to add any ice, and you haven't wasted the bananas that you have. The other thing that I add to my smoothies is protein powder. There's a lot of controversy about protein powder. I'm going to show you the one that I use here in my pantry. It is called Designer Whey. I'm sorry, I'm like taking you on a tour of my house here. Designer Whey, it's 100 calories for a serving. It is a whey-based protein. I buy the French vanilla and I throw in a half of serving, so 50 calories worth. I just feel like even though I'm putting in a little bit of almond milk in my smoothies, I need just a little bit of extra kick to make me feel satisfied. So that's my choice. I add in some protein powder. And I'm either going to use real fruit or I'm going to use a smoothie concoction. I'm sorry, my freezer looks like it exploded. So like I have strawberries here. I have a tropical fruit blend kind of thing. When I'm in a super hurry, let me find one that's not open here. I buy these blendable kind of things. I think Dole makes them, but the grocery store I shop at, the H-E-B, makes these called blendables. Now, of course, their suggestion is to add water and go. I don't do that. I kind of do my own thing here. I use about half this bag, for example, and add in my almond milk. And that's what I use to make smoothies. I don't make a ton of smoothies in the winter because I'm too cold-natured, but I do make a ton in the summer. They're great. You can make them in advance the night before, put it in the freezer, take it out when you first wake up in the morning and let it get slushy so you can drink it on the way to work or after you get there, or you can blend them up super quickly in the morning and go. The one thing that I will comment on is the whole controversy, and I shouldn't say it's a controversy. Weight Watchers believes that if you blend a fruit into some sort of concoction, you should count the points for it. I count the points as they are listed on the fruit package. So if I buy frozen strawberries or a frozen smoothie mix and there's calories in it, I will count those calories. If there's not calories listed, or if it's a fresh fruit like a banana, I don't add it. Now that's just the way I do it. You can do whatever you want. I'm not advocating one versus the other. I'm just saying that I think that smoothies and fruit in moderation for the most part should be zero, but I do understand the thinking behind counting the calories for fruit when it's blended, because it is very easy to add quite a bit. I'm not big into green smoothies. I don't add anything extra when I make a smoothie, but I do buy sometimes the green smoothie frozen mixes, so I do have those on occasion. So that is resource number 2 for this video. Resource number 3 is something on the computer, so I'm going to show you that in just a moment. I'm going to take a moment in this video now to show you the third tool in my video regarding healthy eating, Weight Watchers, and other ways that I stay on track either for losing or maintenance. So my third recommendation is a subscription meal planning service called eMeals. I'm going to stop there for just a moment and say I'm not a paid spokesperson. They don't know I'm doing this video and shouting from the rooftops about how amazing they are. So I just want to make that clear. But eMeals is a program where every week you get a meal plan of your choice. I don't want to confuse this with something like Blue Apron or HelloFresh, which is a meal subscription service where literally food comes to your doorstep along with the recipes. I love those services, HelloFresh being my number one of them all I've tried. However, I find them to be a bit expensive and a little bit on the high calorie side. So I tend to plan all of my own meals, and eMeals helps me do that. There's a couple of things I want to point out from the website before I get into what the meal plan looks like. And the first thing is, on the homepage, you will notice a couple of things. First of all, there's Dave Ramsey. You can do a 14-day free trial, no obligation. I encourage you to do this, even if you're not sure that this might be something for you. Get a couple of weeks worth of meal plans and just see if it will work for you. You can always cancel. The other thing I want to point out is they have tons of different meal plans, and you can subscribe to more than one. If you are diabetic, for example, they have a diabetic meal plan. If you prefer something simple, then you can do something simple. If you have a family, then there are family plans. The one that I subscribe to is the one called Portion Control. Previously, it had points plus values for all the meals. It now shows smart points. So I'll show you that in just a moment, how it works. The last thing I want to point out from the homepage is they have a chat going almost all the time. I think it's 24/7. So if you go online and you're still not sure, or you don't know how something works, be sure to chat with them. They're very friendly. So the way it works is every Wednesday morning, I get an email telling me that my plan is ready. I can either click on the link directly in the email, or I can log into my account like you see here, and I can go to my meal plans and see them from there. The nice thing about logging in here is I can not only see this week's meal plan, I can see last week's as well. Whether I click through from the email or I click through from my account, what happens when I download a plan is I actually get a PDF of the plan. I can do whatever I wish with this PDF. I can save it to my computer, I can print it off, I can do multiple things. You'll see here on my computer I have a little box that pops up that says PDF to Evernote. And I'm going to talk about Evernote in my next video, but that's what that is. It's a way for me to save it in a different manner. So a meal plan will always have 7 meals. You can see here meal 4, 5, 6, 7. It will always have a grocery list. And I'll go into detail now about what the meals look like. Each meal tells you what kind of meal it is. This one is a classic favorite, which means it's been sort of popular and it comes back on occasion. Crowd pleaser, this one is easy to make, potentially for a crowd. Worth the splurge, meaning it has a little bit of extra goodies to it. You can see here together, this is 11 SPs for both the meal and the side. And it also will tell you, again, the name of the recipe, the main dish, how many servings you get, how many SPs each serving is, and then there's always a side included and you get the same information. You also are told how long it will take approximately to prep it, cook it, and the total cooking time, or total time from beginning to end. There is no nutritional information provided on portion control. They do on some of the other plans, but because portion control is already calculated for you, they just leave it off. Each meal also tells you the ingredients you need for the main dish, which is up here above this little gray line, and the side dish, and then the instructions for each of them. The best part about the meal plan is that if you want it to be completely brainless and you want to make all 7 of these meals and you don't want to have to think about it ever again, all you have to do is double check that you have everything on the staple side, which are things that eMeals basically assumes that you already own, like honey, garlic powder. You should obviously double check that, but for the most part, everybody has these in their pantry. And then the perishable items are listed here. So all you'd really have to do is double check your pantry items, go to the grocery store, buy everything here on the grocery items to purchase, and you are ready for the week, literally. The other nice thing is, maybe I just want to make meal number 6, creamy pasta with broccoli and walnuts. That actually sounds quite good. And it tells me right there it's meatless, in case I had any questions about that. I know that this is meal number 6, so I can scroll to the bottom easily, make sure that I have the pantry items for meal number 6, and then I can parse through the items that are listed here by meal. So for meal 6, I need 2 pounds of broccoli, 1 cord fresh pineapple. I don't need anything under meat and seafood. I need a package of low-fat cream cheese. I also need under canned and packaged this chopped walnuts, whole wheat fettuccine. So it's really easy for me to say, for example, I know that my family would never eat something called a tuna cake, no matter what it was called or what it looked like or how amazing it really was. So I'm not going to make that. I'm going to make the other things, or 2 of the other things. It's very easy to pick and choose what you want. I save all of my eMeals. I've been on different plans throughout the years. I still have all of the recipes. Again, when I talk a little bit about Evernote, I will talk to you about how I keep it all organized and why I can find what I want immediately. But you are welcome to store these however you want, print, digital, that type of thing. It's yours to keep forever and ever once you have downloaded it. So that's a little bit about eMeals, my 3rd tool in this 2nd video of the series regarding healthy eating and Weight Watchers and how I stay on track. If you have any questions or comments, I would love to hear from you. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks and have a great day.